Welcome, welcome, my friends. It's a pleasure to have you here in our AI Minicon. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about artificial intelligence in the world of music. We are going to be following the journey from the very beginning to where we are now, and there's a lot for us to talk about. But before I jump into all of the exciting information, I want to first say welcome to all of you who are musicians, songwriters, music enthusiasts, whoever you might be. Welcome. You see, this journey of AI music has been a roller coaster in a way. We started off with a bang of excitement, and then we had the naysayers, we had the exciters, we had the uniters, and then we also had the dividers. So we're going to talk about the journey and how we actually got to where we are. But before I do that, let me give you the lay of the land. There are 5 pillars that we're going to address today, and the 5 pillars are as follows. We're going to talk about creativity. We talk about creativity in this world of artificial intelligence music. We're going to talk about thinking and building with AI as a partner. We're going to talk about legality, what the law says and what platforms allow. We're going to talk about keeping your artistic fingerprint intact. We're going to talk about revenue. We're going to talk about relevance. So these 5 things. But because we deal with technology, I want to be extremely sure that you're able to hear what I'm saying. So if you are currently listening, just go ahead and chat in and let me know that you can hear the sound of my voice. I see one of our friends from Hungary joined. Welcome, Nazol Music NZ. Very good. Thank you very much for joining. I just want to make sure that what I'm saying is coming across. Let's give a very quick sound check. Okay, seems like it's working. Just wanted to make sure you could hear everything I'm saying. So welcome once again. So these are some of the ideas that we are going to be covering today. As you know, on this channel, it's a combination of things. We go into the world of music. We get very practical with it. I've got my trusty little keyboard should I need to demonstrate anything to you. But at the same time, we also get into the legal aspects of music, AI music especially, and we talk about the mindset. So these are the things we're going to be talking about today: creativity, legality, identity, revenue, and relevance. And I would really love to hear from you where you're calling in from, as our friend from Hungary just chatted in. Those of you who have not chatted in, please feel free to do so. And as questions emerge, I will be taking questions. So this is the lay of the land. We've got about 60 minutes to go over this content today. So let's jump straight into more information. So my name's Phil. You might find me on the web as Phil the Creator or Phil C. Before the age of AI, I had 5 personal albums, fully produced, fully original, also 40 singles, more than 40 singles. In fact, if you go on Spotify and all these channels, you'll find them. Real instruments, real sessions. I also have decades of music education and production experience. I love teaching people. I love helping people to learn. If you go to MUSICSPIRATION.com, you'll come across a web page that I've developed full of apps to help people in this AI music age, and also in the age of just general music. I recently created a virtual keyboard, a virtual arranger keyboard. So if you're looking to create more rich prompts with an instrument that's almost like real, you can go to MUSICSPIRATION.com. Since the age of AI, I've also been in the world of music with AI as a collaborator, and I have hundreds of AI collaborative productions. A lot of the productions that I've been releasing recently are things that I did way back in the 1990s, believe it or not, because back in the 90s, I was buzzing with ideas and I just couldn't release them quickly enough. So there's a lot of ideas I had that I am now just releasing. Some of them were almost finished productions in the studio, but unfortunately they didn't see the light of day. So now I am leveraging the power of AI, as many of you are as well, to bring those productions to life. So that's a little bit about me. Let's talk a little bit about you. I'm curious to know who is in the room. Are you a singer or a vocalist? Are you a musician, instrumentalist? Are you a producer, beat maker, songwriter? Maybe you're a lyricist. Maybe you're a total newcomer. I want to know who's in the room. So just go ahead and chat into me. Let me know who is in the room, and let me know what you're looking forward to gaining from this mini con. Now, this is a mini convention. We will eventually have much larger conventions, but this is the first of many. Why this conversation cannot wait? The conversation cannot wait because things are getting hard. They're getting hard in here. People are getting hungry to know more about this world of AI music, and there's a lot of misdirection because there are a lot of voices that are fear baiting people and making them think, don't go down that alley. You're going to get slapped with a lawsuit or crazy stuff like that. So it's very important that we address what is fact and what is fiction. Yes, if you do stupid stuff like Michael Smith, you will get a lawsuit hanging over your head. Not even a lawsuit alone. You'll find a man in black right outside your door. So let's not get it twisted. There's stupid stuff that people do with AI. AI music, you can create with AI music, but if you're trying to circumvent authority like Michael Smith by using bots to simulate humans listening and things like that, bad stuff, you will get whacked. And again, even on YouTube, just common YouTube, YouTube doesn't even allow you simulate human views, let alone where there's even bigger fish in the game. You get what I'm saying? So this conversation cannot wait because we are approaching an era where AI will dictate a lot that happens on various fronts. But let's go through why this conversation cannot wait. Step one, as you see on my map, was curiosity, people just playing around. And I know some of you might be there. But then people went from curiosity to experimentation. Artists began trying it like seriously, like people like me. I mean, my daughter first showed me what she did with AI and I was a little bit resistant, actually very resistant. And I didn't let her know how resistant I was in my mind, but I was quite resistant. And then eventually I started hearing voices, people on the web. There's a very popular influencer that I saw on YouTube, and she was talking about how she made money. She's in the world of finance. She was talking about how she made money with AI. I'm like, I should know what she's talking about. Even if I don't want to make money with AI music, I should know about it. So I started being more curious. And then I'm like, what's that video that I heard that I saw from Rick Beato? I saw a video from Rick. Truth be told, as a result of Rick's influence, then I was able to narrow down what tools were what. So shout out to you, Rick. I know Rick acts like he's not that big a fan, but Rick is fascinated. He's fascinated by AI. Anyway, beyond that, as a result of Rick's influence, I got into the world of Suno, and I started realizing there was an entire domain I didn't know anything about. So I had to learn from ground zero. So I'm one of the people in the experimentation section. Then we get into the hype section, right? The media explodes. There's disruption next. The industry's getting nervous. Then there's monetization. Money begins to flow. And when there's money, there's legal tension. People don't understand how to play the game safe. And ultimately, there's platform control. And you've heard of the likes of Suno and Udio and Murica and 11 Labs and Audemy and Controller. There's so many of them in that space. And the world of platform control, the powers that be, the big three, they know if they don't get in the game, they're going to get left behind. And that's why this conversation cannot wait any longer. It needs to be had. There's a lot of media out there that is against AI. And while I respect people's views being against AI, what I am against is lying, fair baiting, and just a bunch of baloney that is not true. For example, someone says, well, if you use AI to make your music, then you can't copyright it. That's not true. If your melody, your harmony, your lyrics are original, of course you can copyright it. I just copyrighted a few tracks that I released recently. And even though I used AI to amplify my ideas, what I am copywriting is the original lyrics, the melody, the harmony. So things like that have to be corrected, and that's why this is very important. Now let's talk about where we are in the world of AI music. Very recently, I came out with an AI music taxonomy, and the AI music taxonomy just shows you the different postures towards AI music. Level 0 is the human only, the purist. The purist says, I am not going to use AI. And I respect that. You shouldn't force people to use artificial intelligence. They have every right to not want to use AI. But one of the things I would advise such people to do is to at least learn about AI, just so you are in the know. And if you needed to pivot at any point in the future, let's say things became a little bit more palatable, you'd be able to pivot. So level one is that person who says, I'm not going to use AI, and that's okay, right? Level zero, I beg your pardon, is that person. Human only purist. Level one is getting into using AI for reference and administration assistance. And that's the only way you would use it. Level two is using AI for an idea spark. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, what do you think I should write about today? Text ideas only, titles, but not going too far down into using it to write the lyrics. Then we get to level three, human-led AI-aided production. This is where you as a human are going to write your lyrics, you're going to do the music, you're going to do everything. But at this point, you're using it for noise reduction, things like lander, the stem separation and things like that. Then we get into level four, which is a hybrid arrangement. This is where you will allow AI to generate some backing parts, some accompaniment stuff in the background. Then we get to level five, where we're now talking about co-writing and co-performing. Then level six, AI led with human direction. So the AI is playing the music, it's doing the singing, it's doing all that, but the human is directing it. Then we get to level seven, which is the human is now out of the loop. Don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of human out of the loop. I call it whole, the hologram. You know, in the world of Marvel and DC, we have some holographic elements. Not very nice people. Well, that's how I see level seven. I see it as an enemy. I see it as an enemy because when you take the human out of the loop, it creates an environment that is artificial, totally artificial. And there's no human injection into that. It concerns me. So I'm not a fan of it. I know it's probably going to be allowed, but you know, in the world of AI music labeling, if there's something that has to be labeled in my mind, it's got to be the human out of the loop. Where there's no human writing, there's no human, prompting, nothing, no human review, I have a problem with that. Finally, we get to level 8, which is the ambidextrous hybrid policy. One of my subscribers said, Phil, that's kind of like a filter. And I agree, it's like a filter. But what it does is it looks at your posture towards AI music in different genres. Some genres, you might say, oh, I'm not okay with AI like taking the lead. I want it to be a level 3. And then other genres, maybe elevator music that you hear in the shopping mall, you're like, okay, I don't care if it's AI. Okay, let it be level 6. So your level of tolerance differs depending on the genre, depending on your taste. And that's the ambidextrous policy. So that's the way music is evolving in the world of AI. Some people are complete level 0, and other people are even in agreement with level 7. So who are the big players? This is a state of the union from magic to mechanism. I want to give a shout out to Audis Drain, who came through, and Nasal Music from Hungary. Thank you very much. Almost everything I do is mine, says Audis Drain. Awesome. Songwriter, producer, that is fantastic. That's good. Good deal. So this state of the union from magic to mechanism that I have here is a view on the players and the battles that are shaping your creative freedom. You know, the way I see AI music, or AI in general in music, I see it as the ultimate arranger keyboard. It's just like the Yamaha Motif XF8 that you can program a bunch of things on, and it comes with chords triggered back in production, or fixed instrument categories, preset rhythmic styles. But now in the world of AI music, this is how I'm seeing it. AI music systems are now adding the last piece. And you know, the likes of Casio kind of had some artificial intelligent voices in some of their old models that could actually sing what you write out. In fact, I have one of such keyboard models that you can actually type something out and the keyboard will sing it. But now it's going from just writing it out and sounding very computerized to now sounding human. And all the riffs and runs, the pentatonic riffs and runs that you hear from your favorite singers, you're now having AI being able to not just sing, but to be able to inject that and inject grunts and sighs and heavy breathing at the right place in the song, which is crazy. So now you've got vocals, you've got orchestration, you've got lyrics, you've got timbre, you've got arrangements that you can prompt AI to carry out. You can tell the AI verse, chorus, bridge, break, and it knows what you're talking about. And then performance simulation, which has become really good with Suno. Suno, if you haven't gone to Suno, Suno is a tool that allows you inject performance simulation, which is like an audience, or which is like a big choir in the distance, or which is like the audience singing along. It is absolutely bananas. So when we talk about the big players in this world, there are so many of them, and I could show you tons of pages, but you've got Suno, you've got Udio, you've got Sonalto, you've got Producer AI, you've got Murica, you've got Tuni. Shout out to Tuni. I've used Tuni for a few things, and there are many others. You've got Audemy for voice, you've got Controller Voice, you got Suno that now does voice cloning, you got 11 Labs, you got Google with Lyria 3, and you got Lyria 3 in Producer AI. And there's a lot of drama that has gone on, which I can't go into all of it today, but it's the survival of the fittest. It's the survival of those who can collaborate versus those who want to dominate. And when we talk about collaborate, the one that comes up is the world of Suno, Udio, and UMG. So UMG, they are Suno, they're fighting tooth and nail to not go down that path. This is not the yellow brick road that we talk about in other adventures. This is not a good adventure. Now, on the flip side, we have the open frontier, which is where Suno wants to go down. And Suno has been down this road, and they've formed agreements with WMG, Warner Music Group. And it's looking like Suno is not budging in the direction of the walled garden. Now, the walled garden approach means you can create within the system, but you can't take it out. And we creatives are saying, no, we want to create, we want to share our creation with the world. We're not breaking the law. This is our music. We're not trying to put out covers that are illegal. We are doing what is above board. We're creating our own melodies. So Suno is resisting for now. And let's hope it continues to resist. So UMG is bringing the pressure, and not to mention Sony. I don't even want to begin talking about Sony, because we were expecting that things would have wrapped up in December with all this litigation. And then we said, okay, maybe January, maybe February. Now it's April, and all we're hearing is crickets. And there've been some media wars with UMG and Suno, and the concept of walled garden versus not. But let's move on. Let's talk about you and me. Let's forget about the big players for now, because this is certain. Even if the big players crumble, even if Udio goes away, even if Suno goes away, guess who's lurking in the background? A lot of smaller players who will become bigger players. And beyond that, we're talking about Suno, Udio, Controller Voice. We're talking about all of these other ones who are trying to be above board and do things right. But what we're forgetting is they are rogue AI music generators. And they are also not rogue, but open architecture systems that are coming. And they're coming quick. And some of them have been tested and tried to be at least average. Well, those are definitely going to dip into the revenue pool for a lot of these companies. But not just that, it's like an AI music arms race. So some people are going to be left behind, and those where there's no law, like the underground world of the web, we are also going to have the underground world of AI music. And honestly, I don't think you're going to be able to stop these folks when you're trying to set up these walled gardens, because it's only going to encourage people the more to go down the open architecture route and the illegal routes. But anyway, that's for another day. I think avoiding AI is now strategically dangerous. Understanding it is wisdom. If you spend time understanding AI music and how it works and who the players are, you're wise. So we got 3 record labels, the 3 majors. We got UMG, WMG, and Sony. And those folks, they're calling the shots. Then we also have the indie crowd who are also trying to put some pressure. And then we have the creatives who don't believe in circumventing creativity. They think things should be legal. It's okay to go into licensing agreements with these guys, but please don't make it a walled garden. Okay. So that's the lay of the land. But I think if you don't understand the players and the technicalities, the systems, I think you're going to be left behind. So even if you never create an AI track, you must understand this landscape to navigate it. I've featured so many power players in this field that advise you to do the same. Herbie Hancock is a huge influence. I've talked about him. I've got a video about Herbie's view to AI music. Learn about it. That's his philosophy. Why wouldn't you? Great players like Jordan Rudess talking about get into it. Even people like Jimmy Jam advising people learn about it, know what it can do. It just makes sense. Let's move on to technical foundations and the taxonomy of sound. So why classification thinking changes everything about how you prompt and create. For those of you who are new to the channel, you might not have heard of MUSICSPIRATION.com, but MUSICSPIRATION.com will help you move beyond just generating music randomly. It will make you more intentional. Most people will generate AI music randomly, and instead of doing that, I want to invite you to the world of intentionality, because without structure, you're going to get garbage, right? You're going to say, I guess not very good. And you keep trying again and relying on luck to get a good output. This is not a reflection on any of the AI music generators. It's not a reflection on Suno. It's not a reflection on Udio. It just is what it is. If you put in subpar prompts, you're likely to get subpar results. So with taxonomy, I want you to classify what you want before you generate it. Taxonomy gives you a shared language for creation, for collaboration, and commerce. Publishing, streaming, and credits will soon require AI disclosure frameworks. So being ahead of that framework is being ahead of the industry. Weak prompting usually reflects weak musical thought. The solution is not a better AI tool. It is better musical thinking. So in my mind, what I would advise you to do if you're just getting into this world for the very first time, I want to invite you to MUSICSPIRATION.com. I created this for my subscribers. All you need to do is subscribe to this channel and you can use it to your heart's content. But over here, I have the beginnings of the taxonomy thinking. It's not enough for you just say, I want a song. You got to ask many questions. Melody, harmony, rhythm, lyrics. What do I want to talk about? Even just starting there, what do I want my song to be about? What is the overarching theme? These are things you should do. But here I have different prompters. Let's click on this one. When you go through my musical prompt generators, they make you think of the ingredients that you're putting into your music. So as opposed to just prompting just randomly, it makes you think. It makes you ask, what do I want for the rhythm? What do I want for the lead instrument? What do I want the texture to be like? And we even go a step further to allow the prompting of vocals. How do you want your vocal on the track to sound? You may not even be singing. You may not even be using your clone, but you can craft how voices sound in Suno especially, okay? So I would advise anyone who's getting into this world, like newly, you're just beginning to explore it, go to MUSICSPIRATION.com. I'm going to put this in the chat. Go to MUSICSPIRATION.com and why don't you begin using that tool? Whether you are creating world music or you're doing funk or you're doing jazz, or whatever you're doing, this is going to help you hugely. Soul Awakening, welcome, my brother. Soul Awakening says, hey, Phil, I dropped Udio like a hot rock when it transitioned to a wall garden approach. Yeah, absolutely. Hit songwriter meets AI. Thank you for coming through. I'd love to hear your comments on the fact that since 5.5 Suno Studio has been basically broken for anyone who wants to use it seriously, using its AI generation features. Do you mean Suno 5.5 or do you mean Studio? Because you know they're very different. Yeah. If you go above 5 seconds, it simply won't generate any tracks without adding several instruments. That's something we probably have to explore on a different rodeo, but I would say don't give up on Suno. What I would advise, what I have had to do in the past, as opposed to using Suno 5.5, you might have to dial it back to 5 that you were getting stability from and use 5 to cook whatever you want and see if you can make a cover of that version 5 item, if you get what I mean. But there are many ways around Suno. One just has to innovate and be crafty in how you use whether Studio or you use earlier versions. Like sometimes I've gone to 4.5. I've actually gone to 4.5 to create some tracks. And you know what I did? I took my 4.5 tracks that were very compliant and I remixed them with 5.5. Killer, ridiculous. So that is another way you can look into it, and I'd highly advise it. Okay, so still on the journey of, prompts, weak prompts, and power prompts, I would say MUSICSPIRATION.com will help you, because as a newcomer, you got to remember you have melody, you have harmony, notes being sung together, you have rhythm, which is the beat, you have lyrics, which is the narrative voice, then you have the arrangement, the entry logic, because sometimes you shouldn't bring a bridge in so quick. You could leave the bridge to the end to build some insane energy, or you could bring the bridge to the front depending on what the song dynamics need. We also talk about texture and timbre. People call it timbre, the sonic color, the macro architecture. You got to engineer all those in and really think, is that the best instrument to play behind the singer? Should it be a steel strung guitar or should it be a nylon guitar? Should it even be a guitar? Maybe it should be a keyboard. Maybe it should just be an electric piano. You get what I'm saying? So all of these are things you think about. And then the overall structure. These are things that MUSICSPIRATION.com is going to help you with. Now, beyond what is here, I want to be pretty transparent with you. This is not the ultimate. There are different levels of prompting. This is what I would say is Phil's level 1 prompter. If you go down to the bottom of the page, you see that if you join membership, there are other prompt tools that you can use. So this is not the be all end all. There's a second level of prompt tools. And then there's a third level of prompt tools, which is for creating dramatizations and entire drama productions in Suno. And then there's a fourth level, which I have not released to the world. So I'm not saying that MUSICSPIRATION.com is the only thing that you would need. As you grow, your taste becomes more sophisticated and you go beyond just prompting with text to prompting with instruments. And that's why even in MUSICSPIRATION.com, just to alert you to what is here, if you go over here, I have free to everyone in the world, so please share it far and wide. I have a virtual arranger keyboard. That's right. So you can actually record what you do on this arranger keyboard, and you can use this as a prompt for Suno. See, like these are notes that if you play them, they sound, see? And I also have the arranger, the drums. And I have various styles that you can select from over here. I also have the jukebox, Phil's jukebox. And in Phil's jukebox, you can get inordinate amounts of backing tracks for you as a musician. So MUSICSPIRATION.com is where you want to be, and that will help you with these 7 pivots. Let's talk about them really quick. Melody. What is the main hook? What is the main motif? I mean, you have to decide the main motif. Let me give you a very simple example, because when we talk about melody, there's a tendency to get lost in what exactly is it? What does it mean? So let me show you over here. I have a new melody that I just uploaded to Suno. It does not have to be complicated. It can be very simple. Check this out over here. I have a simple melody. Hear that? Simple melody. Now that simple melody Contrary to what a lot of folks say, Suno doesn't agree with what you want it to do. If you give it a very simple melody, it usually follows along very well. Now, not only do you have the option of prompting simple melodies, you can also prompt with your voice. Let me give you another demonstration of a simple melody that I just played. I then translated that into voice, right? And now sang it into the tool. And this is what I put into Suno, just for demonstration purposes.
Never believe your heart. It lies to never believe your heart.
And this is what Suno churned out.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your.
That's one version of what Suno produced. Just one version. There's a second version here.
Never believe your heart.
But again, it's all as a result of the prompt that you put in that makes it give you either an a cappella or give you a funk or give you a rock track and so on. So you got to have your melody down. If you want to make your work copyrightable, you got to have your original melodies. And then what you heard in the background, you heard like the harmonic work. Suno made the harmonic choices, but you don't necessarily copyright harmony. What you copyright is melody and lyrics. You can always change the chordal arrangement. So that's why I always tell people, if you are serious about what you create in Suno, please create your melody, write your lyrics, and then harmony. As you begin to get more advanced in music, maybe you're already there, you can decide, do I want a simple triad? Do I want a 1-3-5, or do I want to make it crazy and put in an 11th or 13th? Or do I want to make it a mixture of overlapping chords? Maybe you play a B flat and a C, or maybe you play an augmented fifth as opposed to just a major. Or maybe you go crazy and you improvise. You go crazy like some groups like Take Six. The melodies and the harmony intermeshing is like a mystery. Shout out to Mark Kibble, one of the greatest arrangers. So harmony is a totally different world, but it adds so much color when done right. In addition to melody and harmony, you got rhythm. Rhythm is the beats per minute. Do you want it to be like this, or do you want it to be? You got to decide. And then the time signature. Do you want it to be tight pocket? Do you want it to be loose? Do you want it to be polyrhythmic? Do you want it to be like a Steve Gadd feel, or do you want it to be like a Vinny feel? Those of you drummers, you know what I'm talking about. And then lyrics. Your lyrics. Do you want to make the lyrics long-winded like a story, but people follow it because the music ingredients are sweet? Or do you want to use a more witty, minimalist viewpoint like the great Michael Franks? Minimalist, simple, but it takes your breath away. Do you want to use maybe a voice of passion like an Anita Baker? It really depends on you, but I would say you got to give your lyrics the human character, a scene, a specific emotion, a point of view. One of our subscribers on this channel, he told a story about family drama. I'm like, my goodness, that is a hit right there, because that's real. And you know, in the South, in the United States, there's some colorful stories about romance and families. I'm not going down that road today. All right, let's go to arrangement. Talking about arrangement, this is where you tell the AI how the track unfolds section by section. This is very important. You have to be intentional and deliberate. It can't always be verse, chorus, end. What about an intro? What about a break? What about a bridge? What about a pre-chorus? What about spoken word? You know, a lot of folks say, Phil, I don't know how to add more of me to my songs. And I say, well, you got a good speaking voice. Why not speak some of your lyrics with your voice into your work? Someone says, Phil, but how do I do that? The way to do that is not to depend totally on creating in Suno. You saw one of our friends just asked about Suno Studio. Well, Suno Studio allows you to actually put your voice into the mix. But then if you're a user of DAWs like Pro Tools or uh, FL Studio or Mixcraft or any of these, you can take what you've done in Suno outside and you can put your own voice in it. I recently released a new album, and the voices I used in the first track, those were from a choir that I created in 1999. I never had the opportunity to release the work until now. I extracted the voices. I had an a cappella version of that song, and I used Suno along with it. It's called Praise the Lord. You can check it out. Just look for Phil the Creator on YouTube, and you find that track. And that's what I did. So as far as arrangements, you got to get creative. You got to use a little bit of you. I would say if you want more character in the song, start looking to use your voice, even if it's for background vocals. Some of you aren't bad with background vocals. You can hold a tune. Put your voice in the mix. All right. Texture and timbre. This is where the magic lives. Describe how it feels. Analog warmth is a favorite of mine. I love like my neo soul tracks to have a little bit of that, a little bit of vintage feel. Silky air. You'll be amazed at what these AI tools can simulate. They can simulate a lot of this stuff. All right. And number 7 is structure. This is the macro architecture. So we're talking about, verse chorus like a pop song, or it could be an AABA type of arrangement, or it could be through compose, no repeating sections, ideal for drama productions and cinematic tracks. Or you could say an intro, a verse, a pre, a chorus, a bridge, an outro, like full form. So I would say take one musical idea from your mind and translate that idea through all the 7 parameters that I mentioned, right? Melody, harmony, rhythm, lyrics, arrangement, texture, timbre, and structure. Prompting as musical translation. Converting musical knowledge into machine language. There's the 4-layer method, and I'm going to show you the weak versus the strong prompt. The weak prompt will be make a nice gospel track, but the elite prompt will be taking it to the next level and saying slow 6/8 worship ballad, warm organ bed, male lead vocal, choir entry on chorus, rising strings in second section. You see, it has more specificity to the specifics in the track. You're being more specific about the areas in the song. And as you can see from here, we touched on everything from the feel, the arrangement, an idea of the instruments, and what you get is intentional and memorable. Even if you're just using the MUSICSPIRATION.com free solutions, you can get pretty specific, especially when you begin playing melodies. And what I did with this, I made it such that you can actually play the melody on your keyboard. So you see, you've got these. I'm just playing that on my computer right here. See, my computer keyboard. And then you can record that and you can feed it to Suno. So we've got a record button there, right, for you to record your melodies and feed them into Suno. So that's the level of specificity I would advise people to begin getting into. The layered prompting system is you want to prompt style, you want to prompt behavior, you want to prompt contrast, like what changes between the sections, the emotional shape. And for me, a lot of this I do with audio prompts because Suno is probably the best of them all. Suno allows you to prompt with auditory prompts. And when you're creating style, behavior, contrast, maybe you're singing and there's a belt, and instead of prompting it with a text, you can prompt it with audio. You can actually sing your prompt. You can play your prompt and sing along or get someone to sing it, and of course with permission, and then feed it into Suno and you get some really interesting solutions. And that takes us to converting sound into language. This is one of the most practical things that I'm going to teach those of you who are already into the world of music, or maybe not. this is probably going to be one of the most practical things. You have to learn to describe your sound in language, right? And then take it from language, if you can, to something like this, right? And then, those of you who are into this world, you can play a bass on this, you could play keys, you can play strings. Well, you can play what you want and then you can prompt it as opposed to just text, right? But if you're looking to do this and let's say, okay, I can't play the keys or I can't play any instrument, that's okay, right? Let me explain to you how you can achieve as close as possible to what you're thinking. As opposed to prompting and saying keyboard, maybe you could say a Rhodes with a chorus. You see, you don't need to be a Quincy Jones, rest your soul, to know what a Rhodes sounds like. You just need to listen and explore and experiment. For example, Simon, right, who is on these shows, America's Got Talent and so on. I'm not sure if it's still on there now, but Simon Cowell, you never seen him play an instrument, but he knows what he wants to hear. This is the era for those of you who may not play an instrument, but you know what you want to hear, because you can prompt it by dictating down to the T. Instead of saying drums, just say tight live kit with ghost notes. You got to learn what ghost notes are, right? Instead of just saying vocals, say breathy chest voice, intimate with a slight rasp. You got to put those qualities in. And let's say you're not even that versed. What I would advise you to do is pay attention to MUSICSPIRATION.com's qualities, because you want to advance from this to creating your own custom prompts, or being able, like, okay, let's say I just hit this. This is an example of a prompt, but you want to go from this to being a sonic sculptor, to actually putting your own feel and your own idea into it, if you get what I'm saying. All right. I think I've made myself clear. So you want to speak instrumentation language. You want to speak vocal texture language. And when you're able to do that, you are becoming a sonic sculptor. And again, musicspiration.com, it's the beginning to intelligent prompts. All right, let's take a very quick intermission here and let's talk about some of what we have in here. So our friend said, do you like using Suno to record vocals, or is it better to take the instrumental and do that elsewhere? That's from Lee B Man 4. Thank you for the question. It's a beautiful question. So if I'm in a time crunch, I would do it in Suno Studio. But if I've got enough time to spare, I'll absolutely do it in a DAW, because you can have more control over the sonic feel of your voice. For example, what I just played, I put it into the DAW first. That lived in the DAW. Even though it's just a quick 1-minute recording I did for this session, I put it in the DAW and I kind of evened out some of the frequencies. So DAW will always be, in my mind, a good way to go. Suno Studio is a DAW, but you have less control over the reverb that you put into your own voice, or chorus, or delays, or things like that. But Suno is getting there, and I think in a matter of months, we're probably going to see some abilities in studio, more abilities in studio. All right. If you haven't already heard me use this word, now you will hear me use the word hyper-iteration. Hyper-iteration is so important as an AI musician. Why is that? Because in the world of AI music, you use credits. And these credits, in my mind, are like studio fees. And using your credits, paying for the studio fees, it always allows you, hopefully, to do more. Hopefully. When you hyper-iterate, it is going to burn credits, but it's part of your studio fees. So I really don't care if I've burnt credits, but I've gotten what I'm looking for. You see, like our friends who chatted in some of these questions, a lot of these hyper-iterations, they are going to eat into your wallet. But if you've got like the Premiere account in Suno, I've never burnt out my entire 12,000 or however many they are, 10,000, 12,000. I don't even know anymore. But that's because I don't go over anymore. I used to, but I've gotten a little bit smarter with it. I take some of the stuff I'm experimenting with outside of Suno. I make sure that it is prompt ready when I'm bringing it in. So hyper iteration just means trying again and again. Let me give you a very quick lesson in hyper iteration. Let's do this together. So I'm going to bring up Suno, and we're going to hyper iterate together. I'm going to give you a hyper iteration 101. I also got a very good question some days back about hyper iteration, and I think the question was, Phil, how do you know when to stop with hyper iteration? How do you, because I like all of my tracks, and I'm like, yeah, you might like all of them, but maybe there's just a little niggle inside that tells you, oh, that wasn't pronounced well, or that wasn't played well, and that's a cue that, yeah, don't do it. But anyway, let's jump into a very quick experiment. All right, so here we are in Suno, okay? And this is the melody I played in the beginning. So I'm going to hyper iterate. I'm going to give you an example of hyper iteration. First of all, let's go to philc.net. By the way, there's a treasure trove of stuff on philc.net, phillc.net. We have so many things in here. There's the Phil AIM taxonomy if you wanted to go deeper into it. But there's also a shortcut, of course, to MUSICSPIRATION. And I'm going into my supersizer prompter. And let's just do a few. Let's do a jazz bebop. I'm just going to leave it as is in the interest of time. Then I'm going to go into Suno. This is my melody. And then I'm going to hit remix. I'm going to do cover. And when you do that, you have Suno suggest the style. 5.5 has gotten pretty clever, but I'm not going to use what 5.5 suggests. I'm going to put my own prompt in there. You see that? Create a bebop track, and it's got all of the information, but it's also got my melody. See that? And that melody is what is going to prompt Suno to give me the output. And I'm going to crank up my audio influence a little bit. I'm going to crank up my style influence, and then I'm going to say bebop simple melody, like that. Boom. And I'm going to get something. The question is, will I like what I get? And to maximize the chances of getting something I like, I play around with these sliders. Sometimes I get adventurous and take weirdness up. Sometimes I may take audio influence down, but I most often leave weirdness at a 50 because according to Suno, that is boilerplate. 50 is not like 50% weird. It's just basic, just FYI. So I'm going to do a few prompts. My melody, okay? Copyright police. This is my melody, okay? So let's listen. I mean, that's not bad. Let's listen one more time to the simple melody because you didn't hear the whole thing. You're going to see Suno followed it. See, that part was in there. It followed it pretty well, pretty well. Now let's listen to the second one. It's not bad. It's not bad, but if I was truly looking for bebop, I wouldn't take this. So these would go to the garbage can because there's something wrong in the prompt. So I wouldn't just get excited about it. I would challenge it. Well, I wanted bebop. And then I would go into the intricacies of bebop and say, no, I didn't get what I wanted. So I could say bebop 1960s, syncopated. It's a very simple prompt, but I could go on and prompt some more because these two are likely to not give me what I want. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. So I'm going to prompt a third time, and guess what happens to these? It's as simple as that. They get put into the garbage can. Move to trash. Move to trash. This is a live demonstration of hyper iteration. You don't keep what you don't want. No matter how good it sounds, you don't want it. Throw it away. Don't keep it. Try this one. It's a bit better, but it still doesn't do it for me. Garbage can. This is hyper iteration in action. Let's hear this one. Nope. That's still not what I want. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to have to work on my prompt. I'm going to have to make my prompt crazier. So I could go to MUSICSPIRATION.com again. I could choose something different. Instead of lush chords, I could choose complex and jazzy. The lead melody could be, it could be a piano. The bass, I want an upright bass. What else? Let's say warm vintage. Vintage, vinyl again. And let's see. Okay, we're going to take that one out. And maybe, yeah, we don't want vocals. So just instrumental. Let's take that. Let's come back in here. Okay, and I'm going to put an ingredient. And I'm just going to say energetic and at times edgy. And this is what hyper iteration looks like, because I'm not getting what I want, and I got to keep iterating until I hear that sound. Is the melody there? Yes. But is the texture, the timbre, the rhythmic interplay I'm looking for, is it there? No, it's not there. So I got to do it again. That's not it. That's still not it. You get what I'm saying? So this is going to take a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error. I could say trad jazz. And then I could bring this down a bit and just keep trying, try again. I think I've done like probably 10 different tracks that have all gone to the garbage can. You get what I'm saying? This is how I play the game. You see, I don't get emotional over, oh, it sounds a bit good. No. That's still not it. You get what I'm saying? And I could be at this all day long, just say, nope, nope. And what I would do if I wasn't on this call, I would prompt to more specificity, the exact feel that I want with chords, And I could say, just to give you an idea of what I would do, I could say dissonant chordal structure, 224 BPM, bebop, jazz, and put this all the way up. Leave that around there. Call this number 4. This is how hyper-iteration is, whether you're doing it with vocals or not. I'm going to do it with vocals so that you see how I would go about that. But nonetheless, this is the world of hyper-iteration. You got to do it over and over and over again. Still not there. You know, I think what's causing it is the audio is to a certain tempo. If I want to override that tempo, maybe taking it way down will help. Let's try that. And if this doesn't help, you know, it wouldn't be an opportunity for me to blame Suno. It would be an opportunity for me to get better and more specific with my prompt. Maybe my melody needs to shift, right, in accordance with what I'm looking for. Still not there. It's still not there. Again, you could say user error, but I could rewrite my prompt with audio and make it crazier. And that could be for a different day. Now, as far as the vocal, this is the vocal. Nope, this is the vocal.
Never believe your heart. It lies to never believe your heart.
Now, what I could do here is do a remix. Let's overwrite because we have lyrics. Let's crank that up a little bit and let's go to musicspiration.com. Let's look for something R&B-ish. Let's go for neo soul. Let's copy it. And again, same melody, but what I'm trying to show you is it's going to be a totally different feel by the time we're done with this. So there is the vocal I put in, and audio influence is okay. Let's just go ahead and hit create. And let's wait for Suno to cook it. This is what I do, my friends. I don't say, oh, Suno, you failed. You know, give me what I want. I say, okay, it's an opportunity for me to get better with my prompting. So here we go. So that's not a very good output. That goes straight to the garbage can. Check this one out. No. So what I could do is I could take down the audio influence. Let's delete this. Try again. And it honestly is a lesson, I guess, in Suno version 5.5, because I get a lot of people telling me this happens, and now you're seeing it live. It does happen, but I don't let that faze me. I just reprompt. Oh, okay. I see what might have happened. Let's see. Okay. So in this case, I would go down to a version 5 to get something probably more coherent. You see what I'm saying? So this is a very good demonstration of how you got to play the 5.5 game. Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's not today for 5.5, and we got to try 5. That's okay, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's try this. Still not quite there, for me. So again, I got to just try neo soul Philly style. There's some days where making it a very simple prompt may actually work better. So I'm going to try that. And this is hyper iteration. I'm eating my own dog food right now. As many of you have said, it doesn't always respond. And I haven't done a whole lot of lives where Suno didn't respond accordingly, but today is the day.
Never believe your heart. It
Better.
lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Not bad.
Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you.
It's more like it.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
That's more like it. It got that one more in the wheelhouse of what I'm looking for. And I had to do it in version 5. You see that drop down at the top? Right at the top. You got version 5, you got 5.5, you got 4.5. Sometimes you got to dial it down. If 5.5 is not giving you what you want, try it on 5 and then work up.
Never believe your heart.
Okay, it's not bad.
It lies to
Not bad. So let me address some of our friends. Daryl, thank you for coming through. Daryl says, use your prompt ideas to create a prompt app. Great ideas and MUSICSPIRATION. Thank you. Appreciate that. Terrell, my friend, welcome. I appreciate you checking out all the videos, Terrell, and always leaving a comment. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you very much. Terrell says, I want to do gospel music, R&B, jazz, gospel blues. Absolutely. The sky's the limit. Start today. Start today. Stop prompting in the tool. My friend KP, how you doing? Coast Valley Productions. Still, yes, as you can see, it's bright out here. Yep, absolutely. Oh, thank you. Thank you for checking out those jams. Yeah, the Elises. Milo is great. I've actually got a video on Milo that I haven't put out for the past 3 weeks. I just need to get around to doing it, but I eventually will, for sure. So I guess what we can learn from my lesson in hyper iteration, and should I just say Suno's at times lack of absolute compliance like we're used to, is you just gotta have to hyper iterate. Don't take it personal. Suno doesn't hate you. Some people say, I guess Suno is against me. No, it's not against you. Just hyper iterate. Here's the idea. The first generation, as you could see in my demonstration, is really the final. You got to climb that iteration ladder, right? You have general iteration, right? And then you get to more directed iteration. Like you could see me almost as it were trying to break, not in a bad way, but trying to break the system to give me what I wanted. And then when that doesn't work, you get into hyper iteration. You know what you want. You are fine tuning those micro elements, right? The swell in bar 8 or the way the vocal tail delays and things like that. You can get kind of crazy. And I often tell people, look, if it gets to the point you want a certain bar, a certain measure, a specific, that is beyond Suno's pay grade. You got to go into a DAW. You got to go into a DAW and you got to learn how to chop. You got to learn how to stem separate to get the specifics. Sometimes you have 2 different takes in Suno and you got to get those 2 takes and you got to go into your DAW and join them. And you know how to do that? You got to learn how to engineer in Pro Tools or even a Mixcraft. I use Mixcraft. I don't use anything fancy, but I know how to get what I want in the tool I use. And that's key. If you don't know how to get what you want in the tool you use, look for lessons. Because I can chop, I can splice, I can slice. Even before I got into the world of DAWs, I was doing this the reel-to-reel way, then the what do you call it, Tascam way, then the ADAT way, then it started morphing into where we are today. I had a VS1680. You had to keep all those numbers of the micro measures and cut them and join them and crazy stuff. So for me, when Suno is giving me output that I just need to chop and slice and splice and join, that is nirvana. That is a gift. So I would say don't get frustrated with the tools. Just learn to hyper iterate. Okay. Sometimes the soul appears, as you saw, in variant 27. Not variant 2. You saw how I was like prompting and prompting. I wasn't getting what I wanted, and I kept going until I got something close. And for the instrumental, I still didn't get what I was looking for. And that's time for some introspection. And for me to ask Phil, are you sure you're prompting this melody right? Because, maybe the way you're syncopating the notes is throwing Suno off into the land of easy triads. Maybe you need to try some staccato kind of stuff. Maybe you just need to prompt it differently. So that is what I would encourage everyone to do. Don't give up, right? And then you got to take what you do in AI into the DAW, right? Generate a full track, extract the stems, import to the DAW, layer live elements further, and then mix and master. And if you really want to go into the world of mixing, you're going to have to learn by watching people do it, and then them watching you do it and giving you some advice, and then you doing it alone and getting feedback until you get great. Because mixing is not just balancing levels. There are so many elements that get into mixing. We talk about panning as well. We talk about adding some, we call it sweetening. You got to sweeten the mix. So in good taste, putting some chorus or delays or, putting some reverb, all of that stuff, or just adding a second voice. Like if you listen to a lot of Michael Jackson's mixes, it's not just Michael singing like one voice. You hear like a wide pan of a couple of Michaels. If you're really paying attention, you can hear it. So things like that you need to take even into this world to supersize what you do. So please ignore the English spelling, those of you in the United States. The hybridization spectrum. So the hybridization spectrum, you can have 100% AI generated. You can have AI assisted, you can have AI augmented, you can have AI reference, and you can have traditional, right? I'm not using AI. So this is like a simplified version of my taxonomy. In closing, and we'll continue this mini-con on a different day. But in closing, I want to tell the cautionary tale and legal realities and what you must understand before you publish a single track. I want to tell you the story about Michael Smith. Michael Smith, I don't even know whether I should call him an AI aficionado or an AI musician who went rogue. I don't know. But Michael obviously was able to manipulate technology to his disadvantage, as we're about to find out. But he generated hundreds of thousands of AI tracks using mass automation. And then he used bots to stream the tracks billions of times across platforms. And that inflated his streaming royalties, and he fraudulently collected tons of money from the pool. Now, when we talk about the pool, the pool is broken into the number of plays each person gets. So he diluted the pool with a lot of AI music, and the news report said up to 660,000 plays in a day, every day. And I mean, this guy had been doing this for some time. So at the end of the day, when they did the math, they realized that Michael Smith was probably going into the millions. That's crazy. You see, he figured out that if you stream those tracks a lot of times, you collect royalties. as many of us already know. So he used what we call bot farming to stream his AI generated music billions of times, and he was collecting a lot of money, and he got caught. I actually did a little short skit on it on the channel, and federal charges, right? Wire fraud, money laundering. And I tell you this not to scare you, but to be completely clear about the lesson from Michael Smith. It's not that AI music cannot be used or it's dangerous. The lesson is that when you treat AI as a system to exploit, as opposed to a creative tool to partner with, you have crossed the line. And AI should create with humans, art forms, not exploit systems. And that line is bright. And I want to encourage those of you who haven't thought of it, don't think about it. Don't cross it. There's a difference between style inspiration and illegal copying. Now, when we talk about legal style inspiration, prompting in the style of a genre or era, right? 60s or 60s Motown influenced soul production, describing sonic elements without naming artists, or creating original melodies and lyrics in a particular style. Style is not copyrightable. Inspiration is legal. But what is dangerous is uploading copyrighted recordings to any tool. A lot of people were doing this like months ago. No. There was a channel that was dedicated to covers in different styles. Now, it's pretty much all of its videos were taken down by YouTube. Cloning another artist's voice without their consent, recreating a specific copyrighted melody, doing AI covers. Many platforms explicitly forbid these. And, all of these are things that will get you in hot water. You will pay. You might end up paying a lot of legal fees, and you might still get dinged. You may still get beaten over the head in a court of law. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know there are folks on YouTube who are into AI covers. I don't advise you to continue doing it, because all they need is one scapegoat. Like now they may say take it down, but when they start coming after people, that's when the flying monkeys come out. Scary. In closing, I also want you to understand that prompting does not guarantee copyright ownership. In most jurisdictions, purely AI-generated music cannot be copyrighted by a human. The Copyright Office in the US have said a human author must be present. So what can be protected is your creative direction as a prompt author, your edits, your modifications, your hybrid additions, and most importantly, your human melody, harmony choices, your rhythmic choices. All of these are very helpful in buttressing your case. But if all you're doing is pressing a button and say, create me a song, and then it comes out and Suno says, well, you own it. Ownership is not the same as copyright ownership, right? You can own the output from Suno, but as far as the copyrightable aspects of it, that is a battle that you may not want to fight, which is why I tell people, save your prompts, save your history, save your production logs. Like even when I put my melodies, I sing them into Suno, or I play them. Yeah, that's evidence. So I don't try to delete that stuff. It's okay. Again, I would say always consult a music IP unbiased attorney. Don't go hire someone who is very, very for AI to the point of detriment, or very, very against AI. Get someone who is in the middle, right? A balanced view to the world of AI. Because some people are in the loony bin, the deep end, the crazy end of either. Don't do that, okay? Something else that's been very good with Suno is you can clone your own voice in Suno. You can use your voice clone to stamp your signature onto AI productions. It's a good thing. But do not clone a living artist's voice without their consent. Do not use clone voices to impersonate. And do not use voice clones on platforms that prohibit them, right? You got to read the terms of service, okay? So my friends, this is the end of our very first AI Music Mini-Con. I want to say thank you for joining me. It's been about an hour plus we've been going, but we've also got some very interesting comments from our friends who came through along the way. I appreciate it. I'm going to be trying my best to answer each and every question that came through. There's some that I missed, and we've also got some very good 2 cents here. DJ Ania says, what's good? Yeah, you caught me live. Grouchy222, thank you for coming through. Grouchy222 says, is it better to split the stems in Suno or in a DAW? So as far as splitting the stems, I have to be honest, I use Suno to split my stems. I've used Moises. Moises wasn't bad, but I found that I can manipulate the newer stuff I'm getting from studio a lot better than doing them in my DAW. It also depends on if the tracks have reverb. I try to use Suno's removing reverb feature, which has worked quite well for me. Again, I have to hyper-iterate those to get something decent out. If I just take whatever is given to me, it may not be the best. DJ says, just touching base, I have been producing music for 30 years. I've written around 8,000 tracks, 800 tracks, pre-AI within the last 2.5 years. Shout out to you. I've created around 20,000 tracks with Suno. That is bananas. That is crazy. That is crazy. Shout out to you. You are Mr. Hyper Iteration. Really enjoy your content, bringing some reality to people. Thank you. I love to bring reality. You know, what point is it being a Luddite? What point? You're just a Luddite and you're scaring everyone and people run away from AI, and then later on they look at you and say, why did you make me go down that road? Now I'm behind. It's no point. Just tell it like it is, because there's a lot of views in fear mongering, and that's what I refuse to do. I'm not going to fear monger. Okay, I generally create AI agents with custom system prompts and knowledge base that support my Suno prompting. Very interesting. Awesome. For the majority of my music production, I have always done my own mix sounds. Nice. And had someone else master. Absolutely. If you've got those connections and that money, yeah, that will be good. It is only within the past few years that I've actually taken on mastering properly. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. I want to say thank you to everyone else who came through today. This is just the beginning. It's the very first. Smash the like button, subscribe. Make sure you check out MUSICSPIRATION.com. And if there's anything that you want to hear me talk about, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. But thank you all very much. I'm going to leave us with one final jam from the world of Suno. Let's see what Suno came up with in the last few prompts we did. It wasn't too bad, but I didn't play the entire thing. Okay, let's listen.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Yes.
Never believe your heart.
Interesting.
It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
That was a little bit of a surprise there. It's a little bit raw, but I like the syncopation. That's one thing that the prompt did follow. All right. I'm going to try to reiterate this one that I have just cooked to take us out. So let me share my screen on what I'm up to here. Final one for the day. I'm bold. I'm going to try version 5.5 to see if it tries its craziness again. Let's try one more time. Ooh. bit crazy. That's crazy. It's like it's in a hurry to go somewhere. I don't understand the urgency. It's going off the beaten track, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. And this is what I guess I've been hearing a lot of complaints about with 5.5, but maybe try a minimalist prompt like I'm about to try and see if it still acts weird. Okay, that's better. I think. That's better. Much better.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your
Yeah, very jungly, I agree.
never believe your heart.
It's gone back to its crazy state.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Not bad.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. Baby, it lies to you. Never believe your
That's not bad. It's not a bad feeling. Okay. All right, Suno. Now you woke up after the live is over. But I'm prompting a few things here. I don't know if you've ever used this button, but this magic button right here, the personalized magic wand, it knows a lot of what I cook, and then it suggests a style. The only thing about that is you got to kind of tailor it because it puts so many ingredients in there, so it could be a little bit too much, but this is what it did.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Okay. I like that bass.
It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart.
Interesting. Very interesting blend there.
Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Okay. Nice harmony, Suno. Okay.
It lies.
Not bad.
Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. To you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart.
Okay.
Never believe your heart.
Interesting.
Never believe your heart.
Interesting.
Never believe your heart.
Crazy. So many. Look at that. 7 minutes long. Isn't that crazy? 7 minutes. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. I'll leave you with this one.
It lies to never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you. Never let it lie to you. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. Dum 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 bum 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 dum dum ba dum dum ba dum da ba da da ba bum bum dum dum. Then never believe your heart. It lies to never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. 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 It lies to you. Never believe your heart. 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 Never believe your. Never believe your heart. 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 It lies to never believe your heart. 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 Never believe. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. 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 Never believe your lies to you. Never believe your heart. 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 Never believe your. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never let it lie to you, to you. Never let it lie to you, to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. Never believe your heart. It lies to you.